Do they not know, like, when she was gone, it went back to the year before she was in the league?
Gilbert Arenas, never one to mince words, delivered a wake-up call to the WNBA. In a moment of clarity that cut through the noise, he pointed out that Caitlin Clark's brief absence didn't just lower interest, it tanked it. When Clark wasn't on the court, ratings fell to pre-Clark levels. This wasn't theoretical, it was measurable. Clark didn't just arrive in the league, she transformed it.
When she came into the league, obviously interest went way up and some of the finances went way up, but there was some argument that it was a little bit of, a rising tide lifts all boats. But here we go with Caitlin Clark, singularly, being missing for the time she was gone, and ratings tanking. 50% in some cases. And then also she comes back and reminds everyone how spectacular she is. And everybody's talking about the WNBA. So if you needed to sort of have it affirmed to you that it is just...
Gilbert compared it to the NBA before Michael Jordan, when players weren't bringing in the massive TV deals and sponsorships. Clark is the modern-day equivalent, and yet the league seems to be missing the magnitude of that. His message to the WNBA and its players was simple but loaded. You're not just biting the hand that feeds you, you're ignoring the only reason the table exists at all. When Clark succeeds, everyone benefits. But when she's attacked, when she's pushed out or undervalued, the whole system...
Just enjoy and go on with it. Like, think about what they was getting paid before they said, Jordan, you're the guy. What do you think Magic and Bird and all them making? Do you know how much Charles Barkley was making his rookie year before the TV deals that Jordan brung in? If you're making $40,000, every 5 months, and now you're making 80, then just do your job
and vote for the person who
system crumbles. And if the players don't realize it soon, they could lose everything. Right now, the WNBA players are deep in collective bargaining negotiations. But instead of unifying around Clark, their most valuable asset, some of them are treating her like the enemy. Players like Angel Reese and Dejounte Carrington came out swinging with aggressive takes about what they deserve, but the arrogance of their tone didn't sit well. It's not that people don't want these women to earn more, it's that they're ignoring the context. They don't hold the power here, Caitlin Clark does. She's the reason the CBA is even being renegotiated early. She's the reason the media rights deal could hit $270 million a year. And yet, players continue acting like they're the stars that built this momentum. They're not. Caitlin did. And if they keep pushing her away, they're not just biting the hand that feeds, they're burning the whole kitchen down. The data doesn't lie. When Caitlin Clark plays, people tune in. When she's out, viewership drops by half, sometimes more. This is no longer a debatable point. The league was already struggling to gain national traction, but Clark changed that. And the idea that this momentum could somehow be attributed equally to the league, or a rising tide lifting all boats, is simply false. One player is the engine. One player moves the needle. And it's Caitlin Clark. Without her, sponsors leave. Fans disengage. Networks lose interest. Her effect is singular. The WNBA had a generational opportunity dropped in its lap, and instead of rallying around it, many players are either indifferent or outright hostile. If the league doesn't wake up, they'll lose the only person keeping it alive in the national conversation. If you needed proof of just how deep the resentment runs, look no further than the All-Star voting. Clark led all players in fan votes by a landslide, setting records in the process. But when the player vote came in, the message was unmistakable. They ranked her as the 9th best guard. Not even 9th overall, 9th at her position. And this isn't just a small snub, it's a calculated insult. It's an activist vote from players who simply can't stomach her success. Clark is the league's biggest draw. Her stats are comparable to MVPs from prior seasons, and she's defended more aggressively than anyone else. Opposing teams double her at half court, and she's the focus of every scouting report. So how can the same players who can't stop her on the court pretend she's not even top 4? It's pure jealousy, and fans see right through it. Every time players take shots at Clark, whether through dismissive comments, dirty fouls, or snubs like the All-Star vote, they're not just attacking her. They're pushing away the millions of fans she brought with her. And those fans aren't just casuals. They're committed. They're buying tickets, watching broadcasts, and buying merchandise. But now, many of them are turning against the WNBA entirely. They're rooting for its failure, hoping Clark walks away to start her own league. It's no longer about basketball. It's personal. The league fostered this us versus them mentality, between players and fans, between Clark and the establishment, and now it's paying the price. Instead of converting new viewers into lifelong supporters, they're watching them walk out the door, angry and bitter. The WNBA's internal politics are more dangerous than fans realize. Two of the most prominent players involved in the collective bargaining negotiations, Breanna Stewart and Napheesa Collier, also own a competing league called Unrivaled. That's right. They're sitting at the bargaining table representing WNBA players, while simultaneously building a backup league that could replace the W entirely. This is a blatant conflict of interest. They've already signed top WNBA talent, locked in a TV deal, and brought in outside investors. So what happens if the CBA talks fall apart? Stewart and Collier can just shift focus and leave the WNBA behind. And if Caitlin Clark ever joined them? Game over. That kind of leverage makes the situation incredibly volatile, and the league may already be too blind or too proud to fix it. Gilbert Arenas laid it out plainly. Players think they can go after Clark without consequences. But they're wrong. Every time they downplay her success or attack her fans, they're not just misreading the room. They're making themselves the villains. Fans are watching these women throw shade at someone who elevated their entire sport, and they're not impressed. They're not rallying behind team loyalty or solidarity. They're turning on the players. And as Gilbert pointed out, when you keep pushing against the tide, eventually you drown. The players are painting themselves into a corner, and if they're not careful, they'll become the very reason fans stop watching altogether. While the league struggles with jealousy and infighting, the Indiana Fever are writing the blueprint for success. Their You Know campaign embraced Caitlin's fans instead of criticizing them. They made it clear. Fans don't need to be educated, corrected, or shamed. They're welcome as they are. That strategy worked. Even with Caitlin sidelined by injury, Fever games are drawing record viewership. Why? Because the franchise leaned into the opportunity instead of fighting it. They understood that Clark's spotlight could lift the entire team. The league, by contrast, has done the opposite, driving a wedge between her and the fanbase, and it's costing them everything. The physicality in the WNBA has crossed the line from tough to dangerous. Caitlin Clark is being hacked, shoved, and knocked down without protection. Her own coach, Stephanie White, called it out, pleading for refs to get control of the game. Other coaches are openly admitting they tell their players to be as physical as possible because they know the refs won't blow the whistle. That's not just unprofessional, it's a threat to Clark's career. A serious injury would end not only her season, but potentially the WNBA's hopes of keeping its new momentum. Clark herself has stayed quiet, but her body language and post-game reactions say it all. She's fed up. And if she gets hurt while the league looks the other way, the fallout will be massive. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark more than she needs them. And if things don't change, she has the leverage to walk away. She wouldn't need to start a league from scratch. She could join Unrivaled as an owner and flip it into a 5-on-5 powerhouse. One move from her, and networks, sponsors, and fans would follow. Ratings would surge, the WNBA would collapse, and Adam Silver would have no choice but to intervene. Gilbert Arenas said it best. Caitlin brought the popcorn, the spotlight, and the fans. If the league can't protect her and let her shine, she has every right to take her brand elsewhere. And the WNBA won't survive the aftermath. So, where does all this leave us? With a league on the brink, and a superstar holding all the cards. Caitlin Clark didn't ask to be the face of the WNBA, but she became it. And now the league is faced with a choice. Embrace the moment and protect the player who's single-handedly reshaping their future, or continue down a path of jealousy, neglect, and self-destruction. The truth is, Caitlin Clark doesn't need saving. The WNBA does. And unless something changes fast, she might just decide that her future is bigger than the league itself. If that day comes, don't say she walked away. Say they pushed her. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over. And if you're still with us, drop a comment below. Should Caitlin Clark stay and fix the WNBA, or leave and build her own empire? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because we'll be covering every move, every headline, and every twist in the saga that could redefine the future of women's basketball.